Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday's version of Take 5 as we walk through some words of wisdom that hopefully help our day, that the Apostle James writes for first century believers, but even for Christ followers in the 21st century. Words of wisdom indeed. We are in James chapter 4 and the last verse. And if last week when James began when James began with the words "come now," if he was imitating Isaiah, he gives a pithy little proverb this time in James 4 and verse 17, a pithy little proverb that makes you think of Solomon and the book of Proverbs. Let me just read it. It's a profound words. Here they are. Whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him that is sin. Whoever knows the right thing to do, you know the right thing to do. Call your mother. Tip well. It's the positive thing. You know the right thing to do. Be kind to your kids. You know the right thing to do. You always tell the truth. You know the right thing to do. You see a person in need and fails to do it. You go right past him. For him that is sin. Think about this. Categorically, this is what has been known as a sin of omission, meaning you omit to do something. We usually think of sins as actions. Don't murder, so murder is a sin. Don't lie, lying is a sin. Don't commit adultery, so adultery is a sin. These are all sins. They are sins you commit. James turns it around in his proverbial way, and he says there are also things that we omit from doing, sins of omission, that are also sin. If you know the right thing to do, think about it. Think about your day right now. What are some of the important and right things that you ought to do? Not just work related, but relationally related, morality related, character related. What are some of the right things that you know you ought to do? Do it. If you don't, that too is sin. I'll read it again. Whoever knows the right thing to do, tell me what the right thing to do is right now. Fails to do it. I don't have time. It takes too long. A shortcut would be easier. It's more fun not doing it. You decide. But fails to do it. That's omitting it. For him it is sin. This reminds me of two places in the teachings of Christ where, in a sense, he teaches this very thing. In Luke chapter 16, he tells the story of the rich man and Lazarus. Now, whether it's a parable or not, people debate it. They both pass away. And the rich man is in Hades' torment, and Lazarus, don't think of Jesus' friend Lazarus, it's just the name of the parable, name of the guy in the parable. Lazarus is the poor man, but he's in Hades' paradise. And as Jesus tells the story, the rich man says, why am I here? And basically he's told, during your life, when you had the resources to help the person in need, like Lazarus, and you didn't, that was sin. And you are now paying for the consequences of that sin. That's a sin of omission. He had the resources, he saw the need, he didn't do it. Jesus will tell another parable in Matthew 25 about the end of time, where the Lord will divide between the sheep and the goats. The sheep are the ones who are part of God's sheepfold. He's the shepherd. The goats are the ones, I'm afraid, that are condemned. And as Jesus describes why they are there, he talks about the goats, and he says basically that they didn't care for those in need. Jesus says, when I was in prison, when I was poor, and he describes all of these difficult situations that he was in. But he's really referring to people that are poor and people that are in difficult situations. Inasmuch as you've done it to the least one of these, or the ones if you haven't done it to the least of these, you didn't do it to me. And so that person is judged. All that to say, on this Tuesday, think about this. Do you know the right thing to do? Do it. Because if you don't, well, you know. I'll see you tomorrow.